Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, again, I never think about the title of the show until I'm sitting here talking about the show. So I guess we'll come up with one next year. But welcome back. I got my good friend GiraffeneckMarc here with me, and we got a good amount to talk about today.
Oh, yeah, a lot of stuff happening this week in baseball.
Yeah, nothing better, though, at least in my life. We got indoor dining in New Jersey, and I'm
nice.
very happy customer.
Nice.
As a restaurant owner, having two people, we have 59.25 people in one of my places this Friday, and I can't wait to have that.
That's awesome. That's sick.
Yeah, you have to make a trip over.
I think I'll make the trip to New Jersey.
It's not that far.
No, it's easy. Especially I got a car now too. Like that's no
easy.
problem. Yeah,
that's not a problem. So go rush hour. But I mean, I'm okay only talking about our first topic for the day because I think it could last us a while, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. They played. Yeah. I feel like they played like 90 games in the past week. But first question: do you think Chapman threw it on purpose?
No. The only reason I say no is because it was almost like two at the head, where it was like, it seemed like it was two on the nose he was doing it on purpose because like, okay, Aroldis Chapman, he has his history, he has his past, but he's never been a guy who's really like a headhunter. Yeah. And when you throw that hard and go that high and that directly at the head, that's scary stuff. And I don't think he was trying to hit him in the head. Maybe he was trying to come inside, up and in just to get him off the plate a little bit, but as much as I want to think that, Aroldis Chapman's doing this like dirty stuff, I can't wrap my head around the idea that he's purposely trying to hit someone in the head.
No, I can't wrap my head around that either. And I'll tell Miranda, put up the Will Millbrooks tweet that he tweeted out about this. And Will talked about saying that in his opinion, a lefty doesn't go that high and in without intent.
Okay.
And so his view is seemingly, I didn't actually ask Will about this, but from the tweet, it seems like he believes that it was an intentional throw. But my thing, and I tweeted about this the other day, was that I feel like the up and in is kind of lost a little bit. The art of that is kind of lost a little bit in today's game because everyone's so afraid of being labeled a headhunter.
Yeah.
Because it is so, you can't hit anyone. I mean, me, I'm big on hitting people on purpose.
Yeah.
It was a part of my game. I didn't enjoy doing that, but like, if you disrespected me, I always was very respectful on the mound. I wasn't a big fist pump guy or anything like that, unless obviously huge situations, which I never pitched in anyway. So, but there was a time and place, in my opinion, for those things. I don't agree with all of them, but there's a time and place.
Yeah.
The up and in is another part of the game that I think is lost because of the backlash people get for hitting guys nowadays. And when a team is hitting the Rays beat up on the Yankees,
beating the crap out.
Yeah, like clearly, solidifying themselves as the best team in the AL East. They're 4.5 games up on the Yankees right now.
Well, that's great. I love hearing that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we're less than a month of baseball left, are we not?
Yeah, I think I know the Mets have like 23 or 22 games left, which is like terrifying stuff.
Yes. But it's lost a little bit. And I remember back in low A, I was in Greenville, South Carolina for the Red Sox. And we had one guy that hit. He was on the Giants minor league team. I don't remember what they were called. But it was one guy who was hitting really well off us the entire series. And I was actually told to hit the guy.
Yeah.
Which is borderline for me. I just because you're crushing us all weekend doesn't really – that's kind of petty in my view. That's not – you disrespected me.
I got you. Yeah,
you're crushing us.
Yeah,
go up and in, make him uncomfortable in the batter's box. Don't let him just be able to sit there and see pitches. Love that. Hitting him on purpose, I think it's a bit much.
I could get behind that. I think at one point, like in my mindset, I was of like this guy's. It was with the Chase Utley stuff for the longest time. I was like, can we just like put one in his back, like just one time? I won't do anything. But then he did the slide, and I was like, okay, now he needs to be hit.
Yes.
Like, that's a little different. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, listen, there is a part of it. And if you're a control guy, again, getting hit in the back, it just puts a little thing in your head and in everyone else in the dugout's head that, okay, I'm not super comfortable at the plate anymore. And that changes the game.
Yeah.
I understand you have everyone, in my opinion, a lot of people are soft nowadays in the sense that, you might really hurt someone.
Yeah.
So if you're like a Aroldis Chapman who has the greatest control in the world, and these maybe you don't use that as part of your repertoire,
Yeah.
because you could actually really hurt
Yeah.
someone if you by
Throw
doing
low.
this. You need to
Throw.
have
Yeah.
what's you need DeGrom, you need Scherzer type control to
Yeah.
really to really execute this, and maybe it's not worth it if you don't if you don't have that, but going and controlling the inside part of the plate is important to a pitcher, and be able to be a dominant pitcher in the game.
Yeah. I remember even from my catching days, I know like high school baseball, a lot different, but like we had this one left-handed kid that was a pitcher on our team. And it was like, we got to establish the inside, because like once you get that, everything, it sets up everything else. You can get that changeup down the outside corner. Like it's an important part of a left-handed pitcher's game for sure.
Yeah, it's important part. I remember talking to Pedro Martinez in spring training one year, and he would tell me that at no point during his entire career, and he was labeled a headhunter,
Yeah.
but at no point in his entire career did he ever try to throw a fastball in for a strike. At no point. He said that if I missed middle, I was really pissed off myself. But if I was on the black or further in, I've accomplished something for myself. No matter what happens, I've accomplished something. Either I've made this guy super uncomfortable, I've stolen a strike, because no one wants to swing on the black end. That's a tough pitch to hit. Especially Pedro throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. So he's like, no matter what happened in there, even if I hit the guy in the head, which obviously Pedro even said he was never trying to do stuff like that, but even if he did, there for as a pitcher to win the ball game, there was something accomplished there. And that, again, I think is the more and more backlash guys get for hitting guys, which, again, time and place, not for everything.
Yep.
But the more and more guys get backlash for, I think that's going to be lost in the game. And I actually think Major League Baseball probably wants it, not to mention the owners, because they don't want these guys getting hurt.
Yeah, of course not.
So it's, the Buster Posey rule. This guy gets smoked at the plate. If I'm the San Francisco Giants owner and Buster Posey makes me $1 million bajillion, I want a rule change immediately.
No, yeah, you're going to protect your players, and like it was such a freak accident. Like the chances of that happening again, it really didn't ever happen that much in baseball to begin with. But like, yeah, you protect your players. It's almost like the same thing with like the whole DH and like people against and for the DH. It's like you get a guy like Jacob deGrom out on the base paths if he hurts himself running. That's so insignificant. He's there to pitch. You got to protect your guys.
Yeah, you do. You have to protect your guys. But, I don't know. This is crazy. But the one thing I think is even crazier is how many did they win? They won 3 out of 4, Tampa?
3 out of 4, and I think the Yankees have only beat them, once or twice this year?
Yeah, seemingly they can only beat the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, they're, significantly under 500? I mean, the Mets, I know, helped them out a little bit last weekend by just choking every single game possible. We don't have to talk about that.
We won't dive into that. Don't worry. But it's that Rays team – listen, I got to give you credit.
Yeah.
And we're not at the point of the friendship yet where I hate giving you credit for things.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there at some point.
Yeah, we'll get there. But for right now, I'm okay giving you credit. I thought the Rays would be good. I didn't think they'd be this good. And this Rays team absolutely just took it to the Yankees.
And that was like kind of my whole thing with picking the Rays over the Yankees. A lot of people got upset because they're like, oh, you don't think the Yankees are good? Second place. I'm like, no, here's the thing, guys. It's not that the Yankees aren't good. It's that the Rays are just better. And especially matching up with the Yankees, the way that they move their lineup, the way that team is ran, they're meant to beat teams like the Yankees. They're meant to beat these super teams where like, okay, today you have Garrett Cole on the mound. We're going to throw G-Man Choi in there because he owns Garrett Cole. And what is he going to do? He's going to go 3 for 4 with like a homer and 2 doubles or whatever he did. Like, they're just so well run. They have great pitching. They have great bullpen, and they have all these injuries, and they haven't slowed down once. Like everyone's talking about how many guys are out for the Yankees. You can look at the Rays, and I think on the pitching side alone, they have just as many. I think they have like 11 guys, including starting pitching and relievers, who are out. That's ridiculous. There's no team in baseball that could recover like the Rays are, and the Rays are getting better, if anything.
I couldn't agree more. I forget who tweeted it out about the Rays pitching. I didn't know the pitching is taking that big a beating.
Yeah.
But, the list was enormous, and some pretty big names on that list as well.
Basically, Glasnow was like the only guy who's been healthy, and like Snell a little bit, but like they haven't had Morton. Yarbrough's been hurt. Chirinos has been hurt. And then you go to the pen, like Nick Anderson, who's lights out. You got, is it Castillo or Alvarado? I always get them mixed up. Yeah. One of them, is doing it. Like, just every single pitcher that you can think of has gotten hurt, and the next guy steps up, and there's just they don't miss a beat.
No, and that is and that's a lot of times how you define these World Series teams.
Yeah,
is you see it was always I feel like every time we have a World Series team that wins in some type of postseason or post game discussion, it's like, we always had the next guy step up. It was always the next guy stepping up. And the Rays are doing that consistently and beating really good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait. I mean, it's as of right now, I'm very excited about a Rays Dodgers World Series. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That would be fun.
It would be a lot of fun because there's no way your Mets are making it to the playoffs.
No, not anymore.
I mean, they're 6.5 games out of the East alone.
Yeah. I think in the wild card, they're like 3 or 4 games out.
3 or 4, and there's 8 teams making it, right?
Yeah. They're giving every opportunity for the Mets to make it, and they're not. But you know what? It's the thing that's stealing the headlines for me with the Mets this week. Steve Cohen looks like it's going to be the guy. So if missing the playoffs means Steve Cohen locks it up as the owner, I'll take it. That's okay.
How long have the Wilpons? How long have the Wilpons owned the Mets?
I believe they've been majority owners since 2001 or 2002, but they had always been a part of it since I think the late 90s. And then they kind of forced out the Mets old owners, basically being so here's the thing. We're going to either buy you out or we're going to force you out. They did it really shady. And, it's of course, nothing's ever. Yes, the Wilpons, they're a shady bunch. So, I just have this feel that, the dark cloud that is the Wilpons, nothing good to the Mets can really happen until they're gone. So
here's a question for you. Would you take 0 losses, 0-162 next year to have Steve Cohen as your owner?
Next year or?
Yeah, next year. You're taking it.
Oh,
he will be your owner next year.
Okay.
But 0-162.
Oh, that's so tough.
First team in Major League Baseball history.
That is just such a miserable season. I mean, here's how I could spin it that I could take it. Wow, my YouTube channel will be popping off. The Mets go 0-162. The channel, as I think one of the bigger Mets fans on YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that, that would be really good for me. I think
great for business.
Great. I mean, just really lay into the whole miserable Mets fan thing. I think that would work, but I don't think I could actually handle not winning a single game. Having been on some baseball teams, in the summer and stuff that didn't win, maybe we're 500. That drove me nuts. I couldn't even imagine not seeing my team not win a single game all year.
Especially 162 of them.
Yeah, I'm used to losing. I'm used to being miserable as a Mets fan, but that's a whole new level. I mean, they've never been that bad. No one's been that bad.
No one's even come close to that.
Yeah, bad. That would be tough. I don't think I could do that.
No, I mean that is as tough as it gets. It doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah, no, that'd be bad.
Wonder what the run differential would end up being. But if I told you, this is my last Mets question for you because I'm just I don't follow the National League East all that much, and I was very curious to see this. If I told you in the beginning of the year that the Mets were going to finish ahead of the Nationals, how excited would you be?
I would have been very excited. I would have been wow, my predictions are looking pretty good. Nationally, because I had the Nationals as a 3rd place team. I think I had the Mets in 2nd. I was like, damn, I'm good. Let's go. I'm hot right now. Yeah. And you'd be the Braves in 1st. I'm like, man, I am just, I think I went 100%. But we know that's not the case because the Nationals are just absolutely atrocious.
Atrocious.
They can't score any runs, that offense. I mean, we knew it was going to take a hit losing Anthony Rendon.
Of course.
But we didn't realize how big of a hit it was going to be and how just important he was to that lineup. Turner's having an unbelievable year, and Soto is just, a freak of nature.
Of course.
Everybody else got a year older and didn't really get any better.
No. That team is, in my opinion, very, very much so underperforming. They're not the team of last year by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But go from the first, the World Series champion to, they are 2nd to last in the National League right now.
Yeah, I think we knew there was going to be a World Series hangover, especially with the kind of season that we're having and
guys sitting out.
Guys sitting out. I think it is really tough to get a team that just won it all the previous year to kind of care at all this year.
Yeah.
Not that it's an excuse, but if there was ever a reason to have a hangover, after the World Series 2020 would be the year. I think they're definitely looking forward to 2021.
I mean, you have the easiest excuse in the world.
Yeah.
In 2020 to be let's call it.
Yeah, 60 games. Strasburg hasn't really been healthy. Scherzer's just been a little bit off. All their guys have just been a little a little nicked up. They're okay. I think they're doing fine. They're happy still with that 2019 World Series championship.
Yeah, for sure. They don't care about this year at all. I mean, I'm sitting here watching my Boston Red Sox absolutely just tank this year.
Yeah.
And I think about, I'd be just starting May having to watch this ball club. We're just in the middle of May here, and I would June, July, August, September to watch
Yeah.
this nonsense. Because I don't know if you've watched any of the Red Sox games, but they're about as miserable as it gets to watch.
I check the box score every night, and I go, man, they lost again. Like,
They
and like
are.
the guys that they're throwing out there on the mound, I'm like, where are they getting these guys? Are they going walking down the street and being like, hey, can you throw? Let's see what you got. Like, I mean, the names.
Go to Hoboken and I'll throw.
Yeah, I mean, like the names are just out of
I know.
nowhere.
I think we had the guy. I didn't even follow it, but we had a guy last night or 2 nights ago pitch. He's first time pitching in the Major League Baseball against 2014.
Was his name like Kickham or something, or
something like that?
Yeah.
I've pitched more recently in the Major League Baseball.
Dude, they gotta get you to lace up those cleats again.
Seriously, man, I might have to get the arm going. I got to the gym today for the first time in a long time because we reopened those two. They did that in State too, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I don't go to the gym, as you can probably tell, but yeah.
Lock it in, Mark. Come on. But anyway, moving on, and then my favorite topic that I always talk about constantly is obviously the Los Angeles Dodgers and their most ridiculous run differential.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I mean, we're at 94, and the closest team to them is the San Diego Padres at 50 in their own division.
Yeah.
I mean, the Twins were around for a little while, but the Twins are now third place in their own division. They're not even the first anymore.
Yeah, they're struggling a bit.
Struggling a little. I mean, they're only one and a half games out, but still, Cleveland came out of nowhere. Chicago kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the best team in the AL was Cleveland and Tampa. Tampa's got 42. Cleveland's got 53.
Yeah.
I still don't see anyone beating this Dodger team.
Yeah, they just again, barring any injuries, they're just ridiculous. And I talked about it, I released a video recently about disappointing players, and I mentioned Cody Bellinger, for two reasons. One, the Dodgers don't really have any disappointing players, maybe Walker Buehler, but he's been hurt, so I don't want to give it to him. But Bellinger hasn't even really been that MVP level. I think his OPS is hovering right around 800, and they're still just dominating teams. It doesn't matter. Everybody just does their part so well on that team.
Yeah, Mookie is having a phenomenal year.
Yeah, he got paid, and it looks almost like the weight was lifted off his shoulders. All right, time to just go absolutely dominate again.
Seriously. And you have a little chip on your shoulder. Boston will pay you. It's the team that brought you up.
Yep.
And then it's so frustrating. Not that I would ever wish Mookie to have a bad year because he's one of the guys that came up with.
Yeah.
And I love the guy. But to see the absolute dominance that he is putting forward. He's on his way to another World Series ring if the Dodgers keep playing the way they're playing.
Yeah.
And it is, every Boston fan, heart breaks every time, they see a Mookie home run, which seems to be 4 a night.
Yeah, I feel like I see Jared tweet out Mookie with another homer every night, and it's he just really pouring salt in the wound,
Oh, it's some of the worst. I can't even do it. I try to go off Twitter when the Red Sox start playing because I know or we get to the later nights of the games with Dodgers.
Yeah, the 10 p.m. slate. Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm at 11 o'clock at night. Nothing's really happening East Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all of a sudden Mookie home run. I was well, that's
time to go to bed.
Yeah, time to go to bed. I'm over that. Did you happen to see the some are calling it a social media blunder by the Boston Red Sox?
So I heard about it, but I don't know what they tweeted out a picture of clicking the reset button.
Correct.
Right. And then they deleted it.
Correct. And then they said you guys ever miss on a social media, a Twitter post or something like that, or a tweet? Yeah, same or something like that.
Yeah. So what was the whole deal behind that? Because by the time I saw it, it was deleted. So I feel I missed what the actual heat was.
I saw the post. It is what it is. I think it's hilarious. You are clearly resetting.
Yeah. You guys almost traded Nathan Eovaldi for Rougned Odor. That's basically signing hey, we're just trying to dump money. We're starting over.
Just don't let us have to, just don't make us spend money anymore.
Yeah.
They're very clearly completely resetting the organization.
Yeah.
And a complete reset with some of the young guys we have. And we had Mookie, who was a young guy, in my opinion, as well, even though he's a free agency. It's very difficult for me to watch, but this Red Sox team, and they put this out there, and these fans, Boston Red Sox fans, in the last decade, are not used to resetting.
No, yeah, when was the last time you guys really did tear it down?
I don't remember another time that we maybe when we let Lester go.
Yeah.
But
even then.
No, even then, we brought Pablo Sandoval in later, who just was a World Series MVP.
Yeah.
we never truly reset.
No.
It's just not a thing Boston does.
Yeah.
And I will say we got spoiled, though, and Red Sox fans should know this. We got spoiled with Theo Epstein, who built the farm
Yep.
and set the team up for years. Ben Sherrington, his protege, stepped in right after him and continued that trend. Had a bad year with some free agent signs, and they just dumped him immediately, which I thought was pretty rash, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then everyone said this. Detroit fans were talking about constantly, when you bring Dave Dombrowski in.
Yep.
He's going to come in. He's going to trade away every single one of your players, me being one of them. Trade every single one of your guys away. He's going to completely deplete your farm. He's going to give you some big money guys. They're going to win your World Series, and then your organization is left in ruin.
Yeah, leave you in shambles. Yeah, that's exactly what I did with the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers weren't lucky enough to even get the World Series win, so
correct.
Sucks for them, but
sucks for them.
But yeah, I mean, like, we see where they're at now. I don't think the Red Sox will have as much trouble as the Tigers were having, recovering, but because they'll still – Heim's going to build the farm for sure. That's definitely what he's trying to do, but you are going to be aggressive, I would assume, in free agency still and try to get some players if they're the right fit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Boston is you're going to have to do something. You have to sign the Mitch Morelands of the world and things like, they just traded him away too. But these guys that are really good players, but not going to cost you an arm and a leg, because you have to be able to put a product on the field that Boston fans will be happy about.
Correct.
If you want to rebuild, that's fine, but you can't do more than 1 year in the doldrums of the AL East. You got to be coming in third. You got to be competing for a wild card in order to, push off riots in Boston, because they're just not going to put up with this type of play.
Which is it's funny because, like, you guys went from, like, the curse of 100 years or whatever it was, 80 years, 90 years of not winning anything, to then just, like, winning all the time. And it's like, we never want to see that again. That's all we want to do now for the rest of our time. Nothing else is acceptable. It
seems like every year you start over, they're like, well, is this just starting a new curse?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing now. We're doing this for 90 more years.
You guys are having, like, PTSD. Like, oh, my God, it's going to happen again.
Which I can understand. Listen, I grew up a Yankee fan. Yeah. I was on board with this curse for a long time.
So wait, this might be a story for another time, but how'd you make the switch from Yankees to Red Sox? Because they drafted you?
So yeah, they gave me a lot of money.
Okay, that'll help. That helps.
You could buy my fandom for sure.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's got a price.
But yeah, drafted me in 2012, and then I said that my idea kind of was, if you put me in the big leagues, I'm now a fan of you.
Okay.
And Boston was like the one to first put me in the big league. So I root for the Twins for sure, in the sense that small market team. I played for them for a long time. I enjoyed playing over there. So I root for them a little bit. Mm-hmm. But push comes to shove, whoever put me in the big leagues and made the dream come true, that was the team I was going to go with for the rest of my life, and Boston did.
All right, that's good reason then.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and it's great it's great for content. It's great for the
definitely
because I live in Hoboken. It's just Yankee Fan Central. It's also great for the bar. Every time the Red Sox Yankees play each other, when we're like out actually inside the bar, it's the amount of beer I get poured on me. It's just it's frustrating, but great for business because I got to buy a new beer.
Oh, of course, yes.
But yeah, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, I was a Yankee fan to just watch Jeter and Mariano, those teams. Watching Pettit and Clemens. You couldn't beat those teams. Those teams were so much fun to watch back in the day. And then we had the Clemens and Piazza stuff.
Oh yeah, Roger Clemens was, like, I think the first person I hated, because like hitting Piazza in the head, and then the whole bat thing, like in the World Series. I was like, this guy, I hate this guy. Like, I'm 5 years old and I'm angry.
Yeah, but that rivalry, getting that Mets Yankees rivalry, especially nowadays, like, the Red Sox Yankees is still a good rivalry, but it's not quite what it was.
No.
If you can get that Mets Yankees thing going, crosstown rivals, I mean, that was a lot of fun with the Subway World Series and all that. That was a lot of fun to watch back in the day.
Yeah, I wish I was a little older, 4 years old, a little tough, not as many memories. 96.
Okay, so I was 91. So I was obviously old enough to remember all that stuff and take it in a little bit, because I was I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to get these Mets, and obviously to get Steve Cohen, maybe you get it back.
Yeah, apparently from all the reports and everything, it looks like he is going to be the guy until pen to paper. That's what me and my roommate have been saying.
What is the latest reports actually saying? I haven't seen them.
that he's buying the Mets for $250 million less than the original thing that he was supposed to buy from the Wilpons, which is great. I love that. So he's getting them for cheaper, and the Wilpons don't have the 5 years of control that they were going to originally have, like that kind of like grandfathered in period or whatever you want to call it. So that's awesome. I love hearing that. And that he wants to buy SNY too, and like apparently make that into like a national broadcasting thing for sports and everything, get the Mets on every TV in America. So, you know, he's going to spend the money. And apparently Buster Olney, I think, put out that if Realmuto does hit the free agency market and Steve Cohen is the owner of the Mets, that they're spending whatever amount of money it takes to get him. That's number one guy that he wants. So I'm like, please, thank you. Yes.
Big moves.
Yeah, no, especially after this deadline. I mean,
seriously.
Yeah.
More than the Yankees.
Yeah, more than the Yankees, but not great.
No, not great. So he's going to get SNY, which was a big thing for the Wilpons originally.
Yeah, well, he's making the two things separate now, because at first he wanted to include them both together. So now he's like, I'm going to buy the Mets and SNY will be separate. I'll go after that another time, or, you know, whatever it's going to be, because I guess the Wilpons are really not trying to sell SNY.
Do you know how Steve Cohen made his money?
Investment, hedge fund, all that
he's a hedge
kind
fund
of stuff.
guy.
Yeah, he's a hedge fund guy. I mean, like the big, you know, question mark and issue with him was I think he got like, you know, arrested or like caught up on like all these like trading fraud, insider trading things and all that kind of stuff. But he's worth $14 billion. I don't care.
Yeah, no. White collar crime. America doesn't care about that.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Wilpons were involved in the white collar crime and nobody cared. So now that we're going to get the guy who's going to spend money, I mean, now we care all of a sudden. Come on.
Yeah, listen, no one cares.
Yeah.
But listen, that would be interesting. Is there a timetable for when they might get the team?
I think November. I think November is the earliest, because, you know, have to go through like the whole approval process by the league, and the owners technically have to vote him in and all, you know, the legalities and stuff like that. But it looks like November would be the earliest. Can't come soon enough.
No, listen. As a Red Sox fan, I would love to see the Mets be good again.
We share a common enemy, and I think that's why Red Sox fans always get along. Like, yes, there's 86, but most of us, we weren't around for that, so it's not like you have that animosity or anything. We share a common enemy of the Yankees. We can always bond over that. That's why I like the Red Sox fans. Yeah, listen, and I'm a little upset the Mets are not doing so well this year, because typically I would jump on board with the Mets right about now and be a fan of theirs. And I mean, they're not doing as bad as the Red Sox, but they're not that far off. No, they're trying their hardest to just be that team who just misses out again in the playoffs. They love being just like a game away from making the playoffs. Well, it looks like that's almost exactly what's going to happen with 8 teams. I mean, there's you have no chance. Yeah, no. There's 4 teams in the West that are better than you guys. Yeah, and that's a lot. The Giants. What are the Giants doing? Yeah, I don't believe in the Giants. I said this last year. The Giants are liars. They can't be trusted. But I can't see them making the playoffs. I mean, they're 1 game up, 2 games up. That's the crazy thing about this short season is like you can literally just like you can be hot for 20 games, you make the playoffs. That's it. Yeah, and there's only 20 games left. So yeah, who gets hot in September? Let's hope those Mets get hot those last 20. You know, let's put a little 18-2 stretch together like the Rays just 18-2. I mean, that'd be as exciting as it gets. I would jump all. I'd screw the Red Sox. I'm all Mets for the rest of the year. Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on, watching. As always, this episode, we've got to be 5 or 6 now. I think we're past 5 or 6 almost. Jeez, I mean, hey, it's a great thing. Please tune in, as always, every Friday. We have me and Mark talk a little bit about baseball in the week, and we're getting close to playoffs time now. We passed the trade deadline. We passed the Clevenger trade and all that crazy stuff with San Diego and what they're doing. But the home stretch of baseball now, and crazy enough, only a month in. Yeah. So only time will tell what happened. But tune in again next Friday, guys. And until then, go follow GiraffeneckMarc on YouTube, follow myself on YouTube, and until next time, we'll see you guys soon.